today on Rappler.
Well, I will say that my eyebrows rose to the ceiling when I heard that the Secretary of Justice outright refused to obey a TRO.
Senator Miriam Santiago says the Justice Secretary's defiance of a Supreme Court order hurts her bid to be the next Chief Justice.
Tell me, what was your reaction to this EO 79?
Mixed, yeah. Well, one, I was really happy, elated actually that he put certain areas as no-go. I think that's a great achievement.
Anti-mining advocate Gina Lopez has mixed feelings about the government's new mining policy. And ASEAN countries are sharply divided over a decade-old code of conduct which may help resolve present-day conflicts.
Hello, I'm Maria Ressa. Welcome to Rappler, your social news network. Senator Miriam Defensor Santiago says Justice Secretary Leila de Lima's bid to be the next Chief Justice is problematic. The feisty senator explains de Lima wants to lead the court whose order she defied in November 2011. Now that episode can come back to haunt her. Late last year, the Supreme Court suspended a whole departure order on former President Gloria Macapagal Arroyo, preventing her from traveling overseas. De Lima explained she did not get a copy of the order on time.
Well, I will say that my eyebrows rose to the ceiling when I heard that the Secretary of Justice outright refused to obey a TRO, because law students are taught that when the Supreme Court issues a TRO, it's like God has issued a mandate. You have to obey immediately. But she has tried to explain it by saying that first, she was not able to get it on time, etc. However, that could be a reason for questioning her.
The senator also warns President Benigno Aquino III against appointing someone closely associated with him. Santiago is among 3 senators who voted to acquit Corona in the impeachment trial.
Well, anyway, the Pinoy administration is in a dilemma there. If it appoints a person too closely associated with the president, then people will say the impeachment trial was just a melodrama. It was simply meant to remove somebody in favor of somebody better controlled by Malacanang, and there is now reasonable doubt on whether the man was really guilty. But at the same time, the president will want to have control, if possible, of the Supreme Court. That's the dream of all presidents.
Anti-mining advocate Gina Lopez says she has mixed feelings about the government's new mining policy. She says Executive Order 79, most laudable accomplishment, is in Section 1, which expands areas prohibited to mining.
Yeah.
Tell me, what was your reaction to this EO 79?
Mixed, yeah. Well, one, I was really happy, elated actually that he put certain areas as no-go. I think that's a great achievement. Agricultural areas, ecotourism areas, island ecosystem, that's a major achievement.
And you were campaigning for that, really? You were advocating for that for a long time.
Yeah. I guess my greatest thing there on the
no-go zones.
Yeah, is the issue
But
of
I really have to say this,
honoring
because when
existing contracts, and then the wonder if these existing contracts are happening on these no-go zones, then when push comes to shove, what takes precedence? Just for coming here, so I don't say anything which is not.
Lopez refutes the position of pro-mining advocates that only small-scale mining wreaks havoc on the environment. She claims big mining companies were responsible for large-scale damage.
I have pictures and pictures and pictures here of large-scale mining that has done great harm. In fact, the 7 grossly, badly mine sites in the country, what do they call it, the dirty 7, are all large-scale mining. Large-scale mining has the ability to wreak massive, large-scale havoc. That's not true at all. And up to now, the havoc that they've done in this country has not been remedied.
Philex mining executive Mike Toledo says both critics and advocates see Executive Order 79 as a compromise. See this executive order, is it large? Can it be seen as pro-mining or anti-mining?
We could say that this is a compromise at this stage. It is definitely better than where we started, because as I mentioned earlier, now there is clarity, there is predictability, we know where the government is going. But then again, as I mentioned too, there's still a need to refine a lot of these things.
Toledo says sustainable mining is possible as Philex only operates in mining sites not used for agriculture or tourism.
As far as Philex is concerned, we would like to state the fact that we have never operated in any areas that are involved, rather being used for tourism. Most of the mining sites, for example, that Philex operates in, especially the biggest one in Padcal, it's an area where definitely it's not suitable for any other industry but mining.
Southeast Asian countries are sharply divided over how or even whether to complete a decade-old code of conduct which may help resolve present-day conflicts. Foreign ministers in the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, or ASEAN, argue whether to mention China's disputes with Vietnam and the Philippines. The Philippines wants ASEAN to include its standoff over the Scarborough Shoal in this year's closing statement. But summit organizer Cambodia, a Chinese ally, opposes it. Manila wants ASEAN to propose a code that would delineate areas belonging to each country. But Beijing says it wants to discuss a limited code aimed at, quote, building trust and deepening cooperation, not one that settles territorial disputes. China has long preferred to negotiate with each country separately. On the sidelines of ASEAN, U.S. Secretary of State Hillary Clinton and her Chinese counterpart Yang Jiechi pledged to work more closely together, with Clinton seeking to highlight areas of common interest. This display of unity follows constant friction between the two powers, linked to China's economic and military rise and concerns over the U.S.'s new focus on Asia. U.S. Secretary of State Hillary Clinton urges Southeast Asian countries to settle their territorial disputes in the South China Sea, quote, without coercion. Southeast Asia analyst Carl Thayer says the Chinese huff and bluff with Japan does not augur well, adding China's actions have certainly pushed the Philippines towards Washington. The late Dolphie died with reassuring words from one of his children, Jeffrey Epi Quezon. Quezon recounts his father's last moments on the first day of the public viewing of Dolphie's remains in Taguig City. Quezon told his father, quote, "Don't be afraid," during his last moments. Dolphie's blood pressure was slowly dropping. The Comedy King's partner, singer Jaja Padilla, sang a song for the legendary actor during Wednesday's wake at Dolphie's old home network.
I can't remember when you weren't there, when I didn't care for anyone but you. I swear we've been through everything there is. Can't imagine anything we've missed. Can't imagine anything the two of us can't do. Through the years, you've never let me down. You've turned my life around. The sweetest days I found with you through the years. I've never been afraid. I've loved the life we've made, and I'm so glad I stayed.
Well, let's now look at Rappler's Rap for today, a list of the 10 most important events around the world you shouldn't miss. At number 8, researchers discover a rare gene mutation that prevents Alzheimer's disease, a devastating brain disorder that effectively erases memory and identity. The mutation slows down the production of beta amyloid in the brain, protecting it from the disease. The discovery bolsters the theory that excess beta amyloid causes Alzheimer's and brings renewed hope to efforts to create a cure for Alzheimer's disease. At number 9, U.S. TV network NBC and software giant Microsoft plan to split ways. Those familiar with the deal say officials will rebrand the top 3 ranking online news site, MSNBC.com, to NBCnews.com. The network also plans to partner with Facebook for the Olympics in an attempt to merge television and social conversations. And at number 10, instead of giving them guns, give them soccer balls. That's what Major Stephen Cabanlet told Rappler, outlining how the sport can instill discipline, passion, and allow enemies to play together in Holos Sulu. But he says their league needed balls. Rappler's Natasha Gutierrez took that to heart. On her 25th birthday, she started a Facebook page, 25 Balls for My 25th, and sent an appeal on Twitter. Before her birthday was over, she had pledges for 50 balls, with more coming. For the full top 10, visit Rappler.com's The Wrap. Syria's envoy to Iraq, Nawaf Fares, defects from the regime of President Bashar al-Assad by announcing it on Facebook. Syria's ambassador to Iraq says he now joins the revolution, making him the most senior official to defect from the al-Assad regime. Nawaf Fares posted a video on Facebook announcing his resignation. Quote, "I declare that I've joined from this moment the ranks of the revolution of the Syrian people." Nawaf is the only serving diplomat to defect since the uprising began in March 2011. He's also the second prominent Syrian to defect in less than a week. He follows General Munaf Tlas, an officer in the elite Republican Guard charged with protecting the regime. Will more defections follow? Lady Gaga's fans now have a home base online. On July 10th, Lady Gaga's social network, littlemonsters.com, opened to the public after its closed beta launch in February. The site is similar to photo sharing network Pinterest and has voting features similar to social website Reddit. There's also a feature for group chats, a discussion subsection, and an events page. What makes the site unique are its house rules called the Monster Code. The code says users must be, quote, brave, kind, tolerant, original, a contributor, safe, respectful, and most importantly, themselves. Something right up the alley of Lady Gaga's message of acceptance. European Southern Observatory, or ESO, says Chile astronomers observe evidence of the existence of dark galaxies using a powerful telescope. The observatory describes them as small, gas-rich galaxies from the early universe that are believed to be building blocks of today's bright star-filled galaxies. A researcher says, with this study, we've made a crucial step towards revealing and understanding the obscure early stages of galaxy formation. Ateneo Blue Eagles head coach Norman Black and his squad is looking for their 5th consecutive championship in Season 75 of the University Athletic Association of the Philippines, or UAAP. The champion coach talks to Rappler about the upcoming UAAP season and which team he's most worried about.
I mean, you know, a lot of people ask me about NU because NU did not lose this summer, and of course they're going to be very, very difficult to beat. You can only go by what you see, I always say, and you know, they showed us this past summer that they are for real and they will be a Final Four contender. But the team I'm really concerned about right now is UST, mainly because they are in a position that we were in last year. We had almost all of our returning players coming back last year, and UST has that same situation this year. They only lost one guy that was a major player for them last year.
Every story on Rappler has a mood meter, and when you click on that story, all of your votes are aggregated into the Mood Navigator. Today's mood on the Navigator is sad. The second day that's happened after the death of Dolphie. What we've seen, the top story remains Dolphie is dead at 83, 89% sad. His profile, the only one, 83% sad. And the newest circle that is sad is this story, Goodbye Haagen-Dazs, with Haagen-Dazs leaving the Philippines, 79% sad. This story just came in tonight. Well, that's Rappler's Newscast for today, Thursday, July 12th, 2012. Visit Rappler.com and watch our newscast Monday to Friday. Tell us how you feel on our mood meter and help choose the mood of the day for the Mood Navigator. I'm Maria Ressa. As we say at Rappler, tomorrow begins today.